Hey, Danny.
Hey
Can you hear
everyone,
us?
great to be
Perfect.
here.
You're good
All
to
right,
go.
all right, art and culture. It's actually a really fascinating and interesting subject. So I'll dive in. And yeah, stop me if I'm not, or if the audio is not working with the Zoom. So, so art and culture. Let's just go back to. I've been in Bitcoin for many years, so we can go back to kind of earlier years of Bitcoin. When Bitcoin came out, it was a very small community. Actually, of course, only a few people knew about Bitcoin, back in, 16 years ago. And in the early years, Bitcoin was really about, well, I mean, one is about, the kind of decentralized money, but, peer-to-peer payments. It was also many things, actually. But it was a reaction to kind of the centralized bank, right? Decentralization was kind of the main thing, with payments too, and kind of self-sovereign ownership. Also, one of the big things is that you can actually own a digital asset. So kind of this idea of value and ownership. These are all kind of important parts of this culture that was developing with Bitcoin. And and over the years, and also kind of programmable money, because it was actually pretty revolutionary. I mean, the white paper was the Bitcoin white paper is very famous. 8 pages describing a really big idea, and and then over the years, um, kind of security, the decentralization, the value that proof of work brings to Bitcoin kind of has proven itself. Um, but also, what has happened is, um, by design, because it's very the scripting language is very restrictive for its security. You had other blockchains that are smart contract focused developing. So like Ethereum was kind of the biggest example where Vitalik wanted to do smart contracts on Bitcoin originally, but he couldn't, right, because of the limitations of Bitcoin in that regard of being able to just do anything, right? Which is also actually a advantage for Bitcoin in that you couldn't do everything on Bitcoin, and so that actually affected the culture, right? So Bitcoin basically over the years became this HODL culture. I heard it in the last panel, right? Like HODL is a strong like rallying cry for Bitcoiners, right? HODL Bitcoin, and it makes sense. Bitcoin is the ultimate store of value, right? And we're seeing companies, countries talking about and actually implementing treasuries where Bitcoin is a big part of it, and that's great for Bitcoin adoption and for this HODL use case, this long-term store of value for Bitcoin. But that also affects or determines kind of the art and culture of Bitcoin, right? HODL culture. So like DeFi and NFTs actually pretty much grew really big on other chains, on Ethereum and Solana, in recent years. And in terms of art, uh, even though Bitcoin was kind of the earliest for doing, let's say, NFTs or even the idea of other assets, right? Like colored coins was on Bitcoin in 2012, right? Before other blockchains came out. Rare Pepes was on Bitcoin, right? Very early NFTs on Bitcoin in 2016, right? Before you then had NFTs on Ethereum. But NFTs did develop. So, okay, we're talking about art and NFTs are actually, there's a lot of overlap there. In fact, NFTs are very broad. So I'm going to be talking about NFTs that are kind of more for the arts. And so Ethereum basically became kind of the NFT platform over the last cycle. Starting in around 2017, you had kind of, this was before ERC 721, which became the kind of NFT standard on Ethereum and pretty much on other blockchains too. That basically then led into the NFT kind of bull run last cycle around 2020, 2021. So that, I guess, let's see, in terms of what type of NFT that is, that kind of defined the NFT that most people are familiar with, which is it's a ERC 721 NFT that is a unique reference on a blockchain. that you can then tokenize and trade, right? And so in terms of art, the art itself, like a digital, so digital art has been around for decades. But when we tied it to blockchains, it's really around this concept of the ERC-721 NFT, which is the digital art, just as it was created, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, 50 years ago, right? It is a digital file. It lives somewhere. And then you can reference it with a unique pointer on ERC-721 on Ethereum. And then basically you're tokenizing that art so that you can trade it on Bitcoin or on Ethereum. But the art itself is actually not on Ethereum, right? So that's actually kind of NFT standard that developed also for art, digital art tied to NFTs. And actually that itself has a lot of value because digital art is very hard for someone to own or to claim that, this is the official work, right? So what you're enabling with the, these ETH NFTs, ERC-721 is that, your the NFTs are serve like a certificate of ownership or authenticity of that art, and you can trade it. And we saw in the last, NFT kind of bull cycle, these NFTs are actually the fact that you can trade them and kind of own them on, Ethereum made them very high value. Some of them sold for millions of dollars for a single one. We had that Beeple moment where, Beeple's NFT every day sold for $69 million, right? And the art itself, right, is not on Ethereum. Okay, so but this leads. Why am I spending so much time on this? Because this concept of ownership of the art is very important for what we have now with Bitcoin and art. So Ordnode actually is a pretty revolutionary idea and protocol that came out just a little over 2 years ago. Early 2023 was when it kind of semi-officially launched, where people could use it. So this is the NFT protocol on Bitcoin, which is actually quite a bit different from the previous NFT protocols, because here I spent a bit of time talking about how the art asset or the digital art asset is not on chain. So with Ordnode, the protocol is actually defined where the art asset is on chain, on Bitcoin too, right? And it's on Bitcoin, basically Bitcoin the base layer, which is even different from early NFTs on Bitcoin using counterparty, like I mentioned, rare peppies, right? Which is even before ERC-721 on Ethereum, right? These were so counterparty was also kind of a pointer system where it points to art off chain. But here with Ordnodes 2 years ago, you actually have art that's on chain, and that actually is just like Bitcoin back in the early days. This idea of digital ownership. Now you have digital ownership of art that's also on chain on Bitcoin, and on the kind of most valuable, most secure, decentralized base layer of Bitcoin, which is actually pretty incredible. So this idea is also very young and new. And in fact, because Bitcoin became such a hollow culture of harmony, this idea is still very much in the early stages of kind of developing adoption and community around. But what we see is that in the last 2 years, there are many artists and more artists today that are launching their works on Bitcoin and figuring out how to actually do this type of on-chain art. So the culture is actually growing and developing where you can have art on Bitcoin. And this actually fits very well with the HODL culture of Bitcoin, because art is not like a quick flip. You don't buy art to sell tomorrow, right? You buy art because you love the art and you want to hold on to it. And you might even pass it on to your children, right? It's a kind of a long-term thing where you're not worried about the value of the art kind of just going to zero the next day, right? Like we've had this meme coin and DeFi culture growing on other chains. Some people are trying to bring that to Bitcoin, but Ordnode is not that. Or rather, art on Bitcoin with Ordnode is not that, right? It's really about creating these high-value long-term assets that are valuable and appreciate, long-term, even after you're dead, right? Because Bitcoin is kind of that potential, digital technology that can secure something, basically indefinitely, and that's what you have with, art on Bitcoin with Ordnode. You have basically this kind of nice mix and match of the HODL culture of Bitcoin with this new technology of creating digital artifacts that you can also HODL for forever.
All right, thank you so much, Danny. I hope everyone got some inspiration on the NFT and also art on Bitcoin. Next up, we will have Binari from Best in Slots.
He's on the panel.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm Binari from Best in Slot. Many of you know us from like work with BRC20 and data services and stuff. But now I'm gonna talk about a side passion project of ours. First, so we're mostly data nerds and service providers. So this is our first ever art collection. And I'm gonna play the introduction video first, and then I'm gonna talk more about art on Bitcoin. So enjoy. So this is BIS Artifacts, Best in Slot Artifacts. It's a 10K generative art collection. And this is fully on-chain art collection, and it's purely on Bitcoin. Like, there is nothing else involved. One thing that we have realized when we were working on like generative art things on Bitcoin is Hey, again, okay. So one interesting fact about art on Bitcoin, specifically talking about generative art on Bitcoin, is that it is actually 30 times cheaper to deploy this thing on Bitcoin than Ethereum, and it's 10 times cheaper to mint it with respect to Ethereum also. So now, like, one of the narratives we are exploring is that generative art truly belongs on Bitcoin. And I'm just gonna play the video in the background, like this is a recording. But one of the things I wanna talk about is the nerdy side of this art piece. This is purely code. There is no image, there's no video, there's no spoon. It's not a file. It is pure code stored on Bitcoin blockchain, and when a device looks at this code, basically the code speaks to the GPU directly of the device, and the device hallucinates. It's kind of analogical to like I'm speaking now with words, and your brains make sense of what I'm saying. It's like it's analogical to what machines does with this art piece. So this is Bitcoin Tech Carnival, and I think this is like a fun way of showcasing what is possible on Bitcoin. And another thing, what makes this art piece unique again is the first lockable art on Bitcoin. So in ordinals, there is no staking, there is no locking. So it's another product that we're releasing soon. So right now, it's the sealed version. When you mint this artwork, it comes in its sealed version. And when you lock it, the art becomes alive. And this like ordinal lockers we call will be also available for all ordinals, all collections. So this is another innovation that we are bringing into the space with the collection, this collection. And another thing we're exploring with this collection is that once you lock it, you mint it and then you lock it, and it unlocks Best in Slot Pro features like a subscription, like an annual subscription. And it's basically Bitcoin native subscriptions in a different way. Instead of just paying with a credit card and unlocking features, you mint an NFT, you lock it for a year, and then you have access to Pro features. And in our case, we're also gonna have a lot of DeFi product releases coming with BRC20, BRC 2.0 upgrades. So this, if you own one, you get early access to it, and then it also gives you exposure to our future drops, future airdrops, and other things that people like. And what do you say? Like one thing we are exploring here is we're collaborating with like artists from other chains, generative art space, to bring them onto Bitcoin. Like this is not known yet. Like people don't know. It makes a lot of sense to do Bitcoin art on Bitcoin. So this is another thing that I've started to preach. Hey, like this actually makes a lot of sense. And I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. Like I spend a lot of time in Ethereum and like other EVM chains, but this actually makes a lot of sense to have on Bitcoin. So we're releasing it next week. The mint opens on 11th of March. If you're interested in getting one, come find me. I can give you a whitelist after the talk. And I hope you enjoy the art. I hope it's like shows you what is possible on Bitcoin, what kind of things can be done on Bitcoin. This is just like a showcase, like a primitive. I mean, not to speak lowly, there is like super extreme sophisticated mathematics behind it. This is way over-engineered. Like we shouldn't have spent much time on this, but we wanted to create something beautiful while doing all these like infrastructure stuff. It's like okay, let's make something beautiful, basically. So thank you for listening. I hope you liked it. I hope you dig the art, and I hope you mint some. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Binary. Thank you so much, Binary. That was super cool, and thanks for showing us what's possible on Bitcoin. Next up, we have Vivian from Bitcoin Asia 2025. Welcome, Vivian.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone's day? Going good? Ready for consensus tomorrow? Who flew in from out of town? Okay, myself too. I'm going to take a short 5 minutes to introduce to everybody about Bitcoin Asia. And if you haven't heard about Bitcoin Asia that happened last year, you may want to listen up in the next 5 minutes because it's going to be a great event that's coming up this end of August. And if you don't already know about the Bitcoin Asia that's happening end of August 28th to 29th is a Thursday, and Friday is going to be the second year that we're bringing Bitcoin Asia back to Hong Kong. My name is Vivian, and I'm the event director for the event. And if you haven't heard the event, next you're going to see some familiar faces. Please note that this short video was actually from last year's event. So this year, the event will actually happening on end of August. The reason why I'm bringing up this slide is because many of you may have heard that we have been hosting Bitcoin events around the world for many years. And this last year, Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, our flagship event in the States, we're attracting multiple presidential candidates to come speak at a Bitcoin conference. And it's the first time where we're showing the world what Bitcoin truly is and piggybacking their reach to really gain the traction for Bitcoin and the industry as a whole. So this last year in Nashville, we had over 24,000 attendees coming to Nashville, and there are tons of media mentions just coming from all of the great name speakers and the industry updates that we were able to provide at the conference. And this year in Bitcoin Asia, we're coming back bigger, stronger, and better. This year, we're welcoming more than 200 speakers, more than 15,000 attendees coming to us, joining us at the same event at the Consensus Conference, which is the Hong Kong Convention Center. And we're welcoming more than 300 companies. Here is a pie chart of the attendees we've had last year at Bitcoin 2024 to give you a sense of how the attendees are made of. And some speaker highlights from our last year's speaker. People come here to network, people come here to catch up with the industry trends, and even if you're not technically in the Bitcoin ecosystem, there's so many updates that are coming from Bitcoin that will lead the industry updates in many, many ways. And today I have a short time, so I'm gonna end with some perks. Right now, the Bitcoin Carnival event is affiliate and a partner with us. So here is a discount code, BTC Carnival with 1C. And you can scan the QR code for 10% off for all event passes for Bitcoin 2025 happening in Las Vegas, end of May, and Bitcoin Asia, that's happening end of August in Hong Kong. And with this code, you can save $800 on the whale passes right now for Las Vegas, so go for it. And if you want to get involved in any way with the conference, please feel free to scan the QR code of my Telegram. Happy to chat, and you're welcome to join Bitcoin Asia's official Telegram group. We're a little bit quiet there right now because of what's happening in Vegas. That's really big. But over time, leading to the conference, we'll have more event updates and perks coming up in the group. And looking forward to seeing everyone there. And please follow us on Twitter and anywhere you hang out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vivian. And guys, mark the date for Bitcoin Asia 2025 in August. Next up, we have Spencer from Collide. Welcome, Spencer.
Yeah, random side projects. All right, so I think I was talking to Danny actually about 2 months ago, and he was like, "Hey, you know, like there's so many things happening in the world of generative art. You should really try to get some generative artists who are good to come like try things on Bitcoin." That's kind of what we did, and it's still kind of a work in progress. But since we're doing the Bitcoin Tech Carnival, I just kind of want to show some ideas that you know, we are thinking about, and also like working with some artists in this regard. All right. I think having AV issues on the last session. All right. So Collide is essentially done by an artist called Lim that I've actually known you know, for a while now, and he's like really experimenting and pushing the boundaries. Because I was basically like, hey, you know, we essentially help to you know, co-found like Fractal Bitcoin. So anything with like fractals, anything with shapes, can you try something there? So he has been like playing with this for about 2 to 3 months, and you know, I think it's coming together, but just kind of want to give you like a preview of like what Lim is possibly going to collaborate with us a little bit on as a generative art kind of collection. We don't have the details, but just want to kind of share what is happening, just kind of like share a little bit of like what the art could possibly look like. Yeah, and throw our hat in the ring on generative art as well. Thank you. And I think what happens is that we're reaching the end of this event, but we have really saved some of the best content for last. We're a little bit weird that way. Like, we really want to make sure that you stick around and also have some of the most interesting things happening at this event be at the last. So we will have Xiaohui of sCrypt to share a little bit about what they've been up to. And then we will close off the conference with a fireside chat with the legendary Jeff Garzik, who's one of the first and earliest Bitcoin core developers, and also Matthew Rozak, who's a really strong pioneer and visionary in the space as well. All right, just please come in, stream in, and have a seat. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Spencer. And last but not the least, we have Xiaohui from sCrypt. Welcome on stage.
Hello, hello, everyone. All right, okay. Who has in this room heard about OpCat? OpCat, anyone? OpCat, okay. Okay, you guys are very technical. Looks like we have a very technical audience here. So, how many people heard about, Bitcoin smart contracts? Anyone? Okay, you guys looks like in the right room. So basically for people who have not heard about this, amazingly and maybe shockingly, Bitcoin can also do smart contract, contrary to public belief, because a lot of people think, hey, Bitcoin is only for maybe digital gold, a store of value, or maybe at most can do some kind of a tokens. But nobody thought about, hey, maybe Bitcoin can do smart contracts. Okay, so a little bit historical background about sCrypt. So we are a company, we focus on, let's say make Bitcoin smart contract great again. Okay, so that's our mission. To achieve that mission, we build a lot of toolings on Bitcoin. Of course, adjacent chains like Fractal, we also support because they're almost the same, identical. And so if you heard about the OpCat, basically, when Satoshi first released Bitcoin, even in the first version, there's already a so-called virtual machine in Bitcoin. It has a lot of opcodes. I think most famously, OpCat. But other than OpCat, it also has like a bunch of other, maybe 80 other opcodes. So it's like an Ethereum virtual machine, but with a different bunch of opcodes, and also instead of an account model, it uses UTXO model. So we are very happy to announce today. So from today on, you can use our tools, the full suite of developing tools, to write big smart contract directly on Bitcoin. No indexers, no layer 2, no wrapped Bitcoin, nothing. It's everything natively on Bitcoin mainnet today. Okay. So we have a full suite of tools. So for people who have heard about anybody develop on Ethereum before? Here, Ethereum. So we offer you can almost think about a parallel universe of all the developing tools. For example, we offer this dedicated SDK that can work directly on Bitcoin, and also by extension Fractal, because it's just in terms of smart contract, it's almost identical, other than you have OpCat. Okay, so for us, number one, we have the high-level language, because even you have OpCat, right, or some other opcodes, it's like Ethereum. You have EVM opcodes, but most likely, and almost impossibly, you are not going to code your smart contracts in EVM opcodes directly. You need something like a Solidity. So basically, what we offer is basically, think about sCrypt is just Solidity, but for Bitcoin-like chains. Okay. So the good thing about sCrypt is there's no new language for you to learn. There's no Solidity. There's no Rust. It's TypeScript. Okay. So basically, it's like a JavaScript. So you can, it's like any other npm package. You can just download and install, and then you are ready to go. So what does this mean? You don't have to learn anything new. You can use your favorite programming language. You can use your favorite IDE. You can use your favorite testing framework. Doesn't matter. It's just like any other TypeScript. It's another TypeScript library you can install. After that, you are ready to go. Okay. There's no other dependency. You just go. Okay. So after you install this, you basically have Solidity. Okay, and and it's even better because you don't have to learn something new programming language. Okay, it's just TypeScript, another TypeScript library you can install. Okay, so if you have from the Ethereum world, you probably have used something like Truffle or Hard Hat or whatever the so-called framework. So we also, other than the programming language, we also offer the command line tools. For example, you can install this, another NPM package. It's just called sCRI. So basically, you can manage your whole project workflow, right? You can create something new, you can compile it, you can test it, you can deploy it. Anything you want to do, you can do it straightly, just one command line. You can do pretty much everything, okay? And this is the first time we release it. So if you want to check out how all this works, we have documentation, we have tutorials, we have support groups, and in Telegram, you can everything is just docs.sCrypt.io, and this is the first time. You guys are among the first to see it today. Okay, so just go there and check out what it's like. Okay, so why do we have all this? Because even let's say we are I think probably the biggest fan of OpCat. Okay, so for people who have not heard of OpCat, is one opcode that's originally proposed by Satoshi himself, but for historical reasons, it has been disabled. And now, a lot of developers or ecosystem players like us, or Taproot Wizards, or Fractal, or Stockwell, we are all talking about, hey, maybe it's time to bring back OpCat or maybe some other opcodes, together in the next Bitcoin upgrade. So if you pay any attention for anything about Bitcoin next upgrade after SegWit or Taproot, OpCat is, I think, one of the most promising candidate for the next big upgrade for Bitcoin. So once we have OpCat, what we have with tools like us, you can directly program anything, any smart contract that you have dreamed of on Ethereum or Solana. You can directly program all of them, and much easier with our tools. So yeah, please go there and check it out, docs.sCrypt.io. Thank you.